Hey, I've been reading this book called Fear is a Choice by pro NFL player named James Conner. James Conner, he grew up in Erie, Pennsylvania. He played for Erie McDowell High School, Pittsburgh. Then he went on to Pitt to play for the Panthers. From Pitt, he went on to play for the Pittsburgh Steelers, and now he's currently playing for the Arizona Cardinals, where he just successfully finished another Pro Bowl year last year, and he just got a new contract as a result. So in his book, Fear is a Choice, in chapter 2, James is talking about his high school career. And like his first 2 years, like being a freshman and being a sophomore, he did really well at the freshman level, at the JV level. He was a running back. He was expecting his junior year to be like a breakout year for him at the running back position. But it didn't turn out that way, because McDowell had a running back, the high school had a running back that was a big time Division I prospect. So James played like a backup role, and he wasn't really happy with the role he was playing. So one of their defensive players gets hurt, a defensive end. And they end up putting James, the coach lets James know he's going to have to play some defense for him. He's going to have to play a little defense, play a little defensive end. And James, I think he said he never really played defense before, or played that defensive end before. And so he wasn't really happy at first about playing defensive end. But he talked about his stance that he had. Like he used to get into a real low like stance, almost chest to the ground. And they said he looked like a panther coming out of that stance. And he ended up, this is like game 5 his junior year. He ended up having like, I think 12 sacks that year. So he had a really good year on defense. Didn't have quite the year he wanted on offense. So that summer, I believe, or that spring of his junior year, going into his senior year, he wants to he's been going to these football camps with his coach, with a few of his coaches, like recruitment prospect camps. So he wants to go to this Pitt camp, which is going to happen, let's say, in 3 weeks. And he goes to his mother, and asks his mother for $50 to go to this Pitt camp. He said he was reluctant to ask his mother because he knew that, money was tight sometimes at the house, and they really didn't have money to like just spend on stuff like that. So he says one night at the dinner table, he asked his mom, like, "Mom, I want to go to this Pitt camp, and it's going to cost $50. And he said his mother hesitated at first, but then she ended up writing the check for him that night. And she told him, when you go to that camp, since it's $50, you better earn a scholarship when you go down there. So at the camp, James is lining up at defensive end versus all these like offensive linemen, like highly recruited or different offensive linemen. And I don't think he's playing running back at the camp. I think he's playing more of a defensive position. And he says in his book that every time they went back to pass, the offensive tackles couldn't block him. He was just blowing by him from his defensive end spot. So after 6, 7, 8, 9 times of this, the defensive line coach, or one of the coaches that were there from Pitt, said, "Hey, James, let me talk to you for a second. I want to talk to you in the back, take you in the office and talk to you." I think he told the coach told him before they went in there, "I want to offer you a scholarship to Pitt, a full ride. I really like what I see. You can play. We really feel like you can play." So he took him back in the back with the head coach, and the head coach offered him a full ride to Pitt that day. And that's how James Conner got his scholarship. So I wanted to share this because a lot of players that I talk to now, high school players, you ask them, like, what position they play, and I say, hey, do you let's say it looks like someone may look like a lineman, and I say, hey, what do you play on? What do you play on? They'll say, well, I play defensive tackle, or I play defensive end. And in high school, sometimes you got to go both ways. I will say, well, what do you play on offense? And they'll say, well, I don't play offense. I don't, I'm not playing off. I'm not playing guard, or I'm not playing tackle. And based on this story that I read from James Conner, don't hesitate. I would encourage players not to hesitate to try out another position, because had James Conner, had not tried out defensive end, had he not been switched to defensive end his junior season, who knows how, I'm sure, he had a great year as a running back his senior year too in high school. So he probably would have still got the scholarship, to Pitt, but we never know. So James Conner's willingness to be a team player and do what the team needed him to do, and to play a position that he didn't really want to play, helped him get a full ride scholarship to Pitt. And the rest is history. So that's just a little bit from James Conner's book, about how he was able to get his scholarship to Pitt, which led to him being, at one point, the ACC Player of the Year. It led to him being the record holder of several records at Pitt, breaking Tony Dorsett's records. All because, and when he went to Pitt, they didn't make him play defensive end. He went back to playing running back again. And that's I just wanted to share that with you guys today from his book. The book is called Fear is a Choice. And it's written by James Conner. He is a running back for the Arizona Cardinals currently. So if you like the video, don't forget to like it, message, subscribe, share the video. Peace, everybody.